From what we know about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's going to be vastly different from past Zelda games and what we've come to know of the Zelda formula, challenging what is to be expected of a Zelda title and breaking conventions with new gameplay ideas and how the game flows as a whole.
You could say Breath of the Wild is a breath of fresh air. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is going to be the 19th game in the Zelda chronology. So here are 19 ways Breath of the Wild is changing the Zelda formula.
The environment in prior Zelda games have mostly been stationary with a few contextual areas and objects for the sake of puzzles. However, that's changing in Breath of the Wild as the environment is now yours to control, given that you have the right items and abilities. Using boulders to smite unknowing enemies below, cutting down a tree to form a makeshift bridge, or using metal objects for your own devices.
You can make a catapult from the environment, for crying out loud! This game gives you way more options with the environment unlike any other Zelda game in the series. Word straight from Nintendo, instead of having enemies trickled across the entire map of Hyrule, enemies will now operate in packs in Breath of the Wild, located in camps in certain areas of the map. It looks like that lone wolf mentality for the enemies and monsters have went to ruin, just like Hyrule did.
A big component of Zelda games are their bold and powerful musical pieces that resound throughout certain recognizable areas. Well, it looks like Breath of the Wild has taken a vastly different approach, electing to have smooth, ambient sounds in various areas that change with what's going on around you. This is highly apparent in the overworld, in which Nintendo wants you to truly focus on the adventure you're having in this land, with background ambience setting the mood. Weather and climate was entirely aesthetic in the Legend of Zelda series. On certain occasions, you can use the Song of Storms and cause an effect, or you would need a Goron tunic in order to keep you from burning to a Hylian crisp. Other than that, it wasn't something of consequence. Until now.
Weather and climate can have a drastic effect on Link in this game. In frigid areas, if you aren't dressed for it, you can actually die of hypothermia. And you can get hit by lightning in the game, depending on how much metal you're rocking at the moment. You know, this deviation is a welcome addition in this game, which adds more life to the world around you. In other Zelda games, treasure chests are a dime a dozen, but that all changes in Breath of the Wild as there's a freaking ton of treasure chests all over the place in Breath of the Wild, and a lot of them containing very important items such as weapons and items, ranging from the fire rod to very powerful bows. And it looks like that Link's trademark discovery pose when he finds an item may be on the chopping block because we've yet to see it at all.
This world is teeming with materials that you can use in your adventure, something that had its roots in previous Zelda games, but nothing like how Breath of the Wild is applying it.
Food, wood, branches, ores, flints, there are so many materials that are scattered all over the world in Breath of the Wild, and when combined with certain other items, they create necessities that you use on the overworld, such as combining wood with flints, it creates campfires, and you can combine other pieces of food to create a cool meal that gives you temporary hearts or a boost in stamina on the map. And this is only scratching the surface of what you can do with all these materials in the overworld. Boy! So I actually got a lot of flack for this before E3, saying that you may not be able to get the Hero's Tunic early on in the adventure, and everyone's saying, hey, you're probably gonna get it very soon, just because it's not in the trailers doesn't mean you're not gonna get it. Well, boom! Look who's laughing now! Ha ha ha! Yeah, so clothing is gonna be very different in this game. You get to have 3 pieces of clothing for head, your chest, and your nether regions, your pants or whatnot. Each piece of clothing offered defensive value and other special effects such as cold resistance. Now you have various options when it comes to clothing, each with its own specific set of properties, and you can customize your own Link the way you want it to, or to suit the situation. And Miyamoto has been playing the simpleton on saying that he doesn't know where the Hero Tunic is, but even though it's MIA, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see it at some point in the game.
Although not every Zelda game has had a partner character to assist Link on his travels, it has become the norm traditionally over the years. However, another breakaway from what the series has established is the lack of a traditional partner in your adventure in Breath of the Wild.
So, if you're looking for someone to fill the shoes of Fi, Navi, Tattle, Midna, Elsa, you're gonna be left high and dry. But hey, if the hole in your heart is really left that big of a void, Just be happy you'll be able to summon Wolf Link to a limited capacity to assist you on your adventure. One of the most important things in Zelda games and the Zelda formula are dungeons, as they act as points of progressions for the story and the overall game that must be completed in a specific order. And that range from around 6 to 10 locations. However, that's all going to change in Breath of the Wild, as we have reports of unknown amount of full-scale dungeons that can be completed in any order, in any way. You know, that's what they said. Additionally, we also have the fact of over 100 Sheikah shrines scattered across Hyrule, which act as mini dungeons, which supplement this fact. In prior Zelda games, weapons and items always followed a certain suit when it comes to how they're handled, acquired, and how they're selected in the game. However, Breath of the Wild is taking that whole thing and throwing it out the window. And I'm not even joking about this, alright? Instead of having a varied item list, we're going to have a way more focused weapon and item list this time around, with the 4 most important items at your disposal being your weapon, your shield, your bow, and your arrows. And in each one of these categories, you can switch between different ones on the fly. When it comes to weapons, you have your disposal of swords, axes, hammers, claymores, spears, and even more. Nintendo already said that all the items that you get in this game, including your bows and arrows, are perishable. So that means you're going to have a good amount on you at all times, or else you're going to get beat down in the wild. With this new system in place, we're going to get a lot of new items in this game. But that also means a lot of items from past Zelda games are probably going to be in the chopping block.
In past Zelda games, when you usually take a strong hit, you are flung back a set distance, but you're able to get back up in a bit, no problem. Well, you better drop that mentality when playing this game. The physics in Breath of the Wild is a huge change from the standard Zelda convention. One of the new additions in the game's engine is Ragdoll Physics, in which Link can be flung, thrown, pushed, and limp in nearly any way or any direction depending on the hit he takes.
Also, conflagration is a huge deal in this game. Anything that can catch fire will in Breath of the Wild, and that includes anything that's made out of wood, plant, or anything that has a substance around it that can catch fire. Fires can spread naturally or can become wildfires thanks to big gusts of wind. Thanks to the physics engine in this game, you're going to have to think a lot more strategically when handling the world of Hyrule this time around. You're going to have to think about how things can move and can be moved. And also about natural occurring elements that can put you in danger in this game. A variable that wasn't in our head in prior Zelda games. Running low on health, need some hearts? Well, no biggie, right? You just have to cut some grass, break some pots, and then you'll eventually find some hearts and restore your energy. Well, not this time in Breath of the Wild. Sad to say, but it has been confirmed that recovery hearts will not be returning in this game. Instead, you're going to have to keep up your health by means of food, cooking, or elixirs. No word yet if pieces of heart or heart containers will return in this game, but certain recipes can afford you temporary hearts to get you through tougher situations. But once you lose them, that's it. Rupees have been pretty abundant in every other Zelda game before this one, to the point where you just have to cut some grass and there you have it, some rupees. However, that's all going to change because rupees in Breath of the Wild are going to be extremely hard to find this time around. Gone are the days of cutting grass and getting cash. Nope, you're going to have to work for it this time. We've had reports of finding rupees in the overworld and in certain chests, but you're going to really have to look for them because they have been very few and in between. This time around, the main way of getting rupees in this game is by selling items you don't need from your inventory. You know, I just really want to know how much things are going to cost when you're going to have to buy stuff in this game. In every other Zelda game, except for Zelda 2, Link can only jump with the assistance of items or running off a ledge. And climbing was even more difficult, as climbing up surfaces required vines or a ladder or any type of other scalable surface. But gone are those days, as in Breath of the Wild, you can jump to your heart's content and you can scale any surface, as long as you have the energy to do so. Combat also takes a turn for change. In 2D Zelda games, slashing was pretty limited, but in 3D Zelda games, you can slash in almost any direction, horizontal, vertical, or some quick stabs. But in Breath of the Wild, certain attacks are mapped to certain weapons. The sword, the one-handed sword, can offer quick horizontal slashes. The spear excels in quick stabbing motions. The axe covers a great deal of range vertically or horizontally. And the claymore deals a lot of damage, but only deals slow strikes. So, in this Zelda game, depending on your style and depending on the weapon you have, it offers a lot more combat options and styles. One of the most debated things in The Legend of Zelda is the incorporation of voice acting. That's because no other Zelda game had it before this one. Tetra Trackers, I don't count Tetra Trackers. No! So, everyone was super surprised at the trailer when we finally got voice acting. Well, kind of incorporated in Breath of the Wild in the form of a voice in Link's head that guides him on his adventure. Eiji Aonuma said there's going to be more voice acting in the game in very important places, so we're going to have to wait and see on how this pans out and if this is a good thing for the Zelda franchise.
The Legend of Zelda has always been about the adventure in which you save a land from utter demise. Well, you're a bit late to the party this time around, and now you have to worry about who is saving you, because this game is all about survival. Breath of the Wild focuses on the adventure still, yes, but survival has never been in the spotlight in a Zelda game before. Your weapons can break, climate and weather can affect your health, enemies travel in packs, the physics can work against you in ways you can't imagine. You may not have been able to save Hyrule, but you must survive the wild in order to save the world.
Although Link is the official name of the hero in every Zelda game, you had the option to name him to help identify with the hero that saves Hyrule or any other land. Yet, in an unprecedented move, Nintendo takes that concept and crushes it before our eyes. That's right, Link will remain named Link in this game. End of story. That's it. His name is Link. As with voice acting, this is another huge change in breaking the Zelda conventions. Link's name is Link. You have to deal with it. You know, it's not too big of a deal for me because I always named him Link anyways. With each passing Zelda game of the series, a progression was made. Each game acted as a stepping stone to a Zelda formula that we all know and love. Well, most of us. And most of the games follow this motif on how you have to progress the story through dungeons. You know, the Zelda formula. Complete 3 dungeons, get the Master Sword, complete 6 or 5 more dungeons, beat the game. Side quest here, side quest there. It wasn't really challenged up until A Link Between Worlds. However, Breath of the Wild is taking it up so many notches, kicking it up to 11, in which Nintendo claims that you can tackle this game any way you want, go anywhere you want, and complete it in any fashion that you want. You can go out and complete the Sheikah Shrines. You can go out and complete the story, find out what happened to Link in Hyrule. Hell, if you want, you can go to the final boss of the game in the beginning of the game. You know, once you get off the Great Plateau, let's go, Calamity Ganon. Hey, if you just want to go out, discover new food and treasures and just lay back, kick it, and relax, cook some stuff, you can do that too. This is truly an open-air game, according to Nintendo, with an adventure just waiting for you to unfold the way you want to. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, friends, Zelda fanatics all over the world. 19 ways on how Breath of the Wild is changing, breaking the Zelda formula. If you enjoyed the video, please award me with a like. Share this with all your Zelda friends and fanatics, and most importantly, subscribe to HMK for more Breath of the Wild videos. Until the next one, I've been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.